Hi guys, this is Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today I'm going to be playing with the Club Blooms die set from Spellbinders. This is the large die of the month for January 2023, and there are a ton of dies in here to create lots and lots of flowers. I think this is just so pretty to have in your stash. You can use these as a focal point or as an accent, and I've gone ahead and cut out a bunch in some different colors, and I'm going to be assembling these to make some cards. For this first flower, I'm actually going to be using 3 different dies. I've got it cut out of 3 different colors. I've got this larger piece, a smaller piece, and then this other one that is for the center. For the center, I've got it in a couple of colors of yellow, different shades, so that it adds a little depth. I'm going to go ahead and adhere those together and then layer up the different petals of this flower. So now we've got our first flower done. The rest of these are pretty easy to do. There is this one die that has got 3 petals, and you basically just layer up 2 of those. I've got 2 alternating colors of purple, and I'm just going to kind of offset them, and I think that makes it real pretty. And let's go ahead and put that one together. The other flowers in the die set are basic flower shapes and some centers, so I'm going to go ahead and assemble some of those as well. The die set includes a bunch of leaves and stems, and actually a stem with some buds on there. So I went ahead and cut out a bunch of those out of a couple of different colors of green so I can use that with my flowers. Since we have the stem for the buds, I went ahead and cut out some of the little actual bud colors out of some purple. I'm going to go ahead and adhere those down, so I've got that piece all ready to go. For my background, because I love it so much, I'm using the 3D embossing folder of the month. It's called Floral Archway, and it is just so pretty. It does have that archway in the center, but you know, I really don't care. I'm going to go ahead and just slice it right down the middle so I can make 2 cards out of this one embossed panel. Next, I'm going to grab out some things that are in my stash. Basically, I've got a binder full of ephemera and extra pieces and such that I've got left over from some card kits and from some over die cutting. So I'm going to use a couple of these little frames. I believe this is some kind of a picture. It almost looks like a slide. So I'm going to use that as kind of my centering part, and then I'm going to add all the flowers to that. I trimmed down one of my embossed panels to a bit smaller than A2 size. I believe it was about 3 3/4 by 5 inches, so it'll leave about a 1/4 inch all the way around. And I'm going to put this onto a yellow card base just to kind of bring in that little extra pop of color. And then I'm adding a bunch of foam tape to the back. That's going to help this embossed panel stick down to the card a little better than just using liquid glue. You could do either way, but I also like that little bit of dimension. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and make sure I don't have any saggy middles, and then I'll place that down onto my card base and start building everything up. A lot of times I go ahead and do the panel first, get everything on my panel, and then adhere it to the card base. This time I'm adhering it to the card base first because I do want to make sure that the embossed panel stays down well. Next, I'll start layering everything up, starting with this chipboard piece that is that slide frame. Just adding some liquid glue to the back of that, and then I can start layering all of my flowers on. Since that chipboard frame does have a little dimension on its own, I am adding some foam tape to the back of my flowers if they're going to be kind of in the well and overlapping the frame. I want to make sure all of my flowers are basically flush instead of having them kind of off sides or sagging anywhere, and so that's the only way I know of that I can get that to really work well. Now if I had a piece of chipboard that was the same, the same thickness, I could use that as well, but foam tape works perfect for this. I added 3 of the flowers to the upper right hand side and decided that I do need a little bit more, so I'm going to add one down to the bottom, but it's going to be a smaller flower with a long stem. I'm just going to adhere that down with some liquid glue. Next I'll tuck some leaves around just to give it a little bit more fullness and make the flowers look a little more complete, like they're the actual flowers. So I'll go ahead and get those added on with just some liquid glue, and our card's almost done. To finish it off, I'm going to add a sentiment that I've got in my stash from some glimmer sentiments I did months ago. This sentiment says, "I'm glad we're friends," and I'm just cutting it kind of at a little bit of an angle. Makes it so that I don't have to make sure I've got a perfect right angle, to be quite honest. And I'm just going to adhere this one right down over the flowers and add a little bit of foam to the parts that would go into the well again of that frame. So that finishes up this card using the Club Blooms die set from Spellbinders. You can see some other videos where I'm using wonderful Spellbinders products over in this playlist over here. And you guys have a wonderful day. Remember, if I can make it, you can too. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.